Howdy, I'm Cyberax with Outlandishly Crafted, and today we're talking about the Entity Wizard for Minecraft in Blockbench. It's a plugin. If you need to know how to install it, I show you in my other guides. You can go check those out, how to install, how to find, how to get the Minecraft Entity Wizard. But right now, we're just going to run through how to do it. So here we go. We're going to make a Bob. Yep, that's going to be his name. We're going to put in our pack identifier. That's what you call your pack. So I'm going to call my pack OLC for Outlandishly Crafted. And then I'm going to put an identifier in for Bob. And there's the Bob. That's going to be his name. And then we're going to hit next. And we're going to figure out what's Bob going to look like. Well, I'm going to make him a pillager. That looks like a Bob. We'll just keep going. We can change our eggs in there, all of our colors and stuff, and then we got to name our pack, and this is going to be the Bob add-on pack. And what is it about? Well, it's an add-on pack about Bobs. There we go. And then most of you have this option, export as MC add-on, and you get stuck here. So I'm going to run through this process really quick for you. So we're going to export. It's going to show us where we want to save this MC add-on, and it's really important we remember where we save it. So we're going to put it in downloads over here on the side so we can get back to it. We're going to hit save, and now really important, it's saying, hey, we need to put this in the game. If you want to do more editing and more stuff to your models and add animations and other stuff, you can do that before you put it in the game or after, but you need to know which one so that you know which files to edit. So I'm going to show you just doing it with the MC add-on. So right here, a lot of people get stuck on this step. What do I do now? So what we do is we're going to go get that zip file, that MC add-on file. So we're going to go to our Manila folder. We're going to go to downloads. We're going to find the MC add-on. Here it is. And we have a few options. And what I suggest you do is go ahead and install it in the game. So we're going to double click it, and it's going to open Minecraft, and now we're going to get our add-on in the game. Now, when you do this, it copies all of those files into the game folder, and it puts it in a behavior pack folder and a resource pack folder. Then, when you add it onto your world, so you make a new world and you add it and activate it on the world, it copies it from the behavior pack area and the resource pack area and puts a copy of it in your world. So that's what it looks like here. So it takes it from the behavior pack folder and the resource pack folder, and it makes a new world folder, and then it puts it inside there. And you need to know this because when you want to go back and edit these, you need to make sure you're editing the right one, so that stuff actually happens. Because if you edit the wrong one, then nothing's going to happen. So that's where a lot of people get stuck. So I'm going to create a new world. I'm going to do my new world stuff. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to call this Bob's World. I'm going to go down here to my behavior pack. I'm going to get available. I'm going to get this guy, and I'm going to activate him because that's my Bob pack. And I'm going to check in resource pack and make sure he's activated too. So there we go. Now I'm going to create my world. Now remember, when we're doing that, it's taking the pack from behavior packs and resource pack where it puts it, Bob pack, right? And it's moving it into a new world and putting it in the world pack. So it's going to copy it over here. Now the problem with that is if we want to do more modifications and more edits to it and do more stuff, we need to make sure we're modifying the right folder, the right files, and we want to make sure that we reapply it to the world each time so that we get the current updated changes. And a lot of people make changes and they can't figure out why they don't see it in the world, and that's because they're not going through and re-adding their BP and their RP pack each time they make changes. Now to avoid that, what you can do is you can take your BP from here and you can cut it and move it into here, the developer BP. and you can take your RP from here and you can move it into development resource pack. And what that does is it means it keeps the world updated all the time and doesn't copy these over, so we can actually get rid of these. And this way there's only one pack to change, one add-on to change, and it's inside the development pack and resource pack folders. So those are the ones now that we'll modify and we'll be working in. That way, if we want to create 10 worlds and use the same pack with the same settings in all 10 worlds, we don't have to go through the same process of adding them over and over and changing them over and over for every world that we do. Now we can have them just once, and we only have to edit them once. So now that we've got everything set up, let's open up our pre-existing Bob model. So first, we need to go to cheat mode. So let's jump out of the game. Let's enable cheats so that we can spawn them. And I'm going to get rid of my old world because we made a new one. And we go into the world, and then we're going to spawn a Bob. And then after we spawn a Bob, then we're going to go modify the Bob. So first thing is, let's go to game mode so that we don't die when we spawn the Bob. Oh, sorry, game mode C. And now let's summon Bob. Ah, there he is. So now we've got a Bob. And we're going to middle click our mouse button and get a Bob egg so that we can just spawn as many Bobs as we want. Okay, so now we have a Bob. We're going to close and save the game. When we're making changes, we can't be inside the game. We have to be outside the game. So now we're done with this. We're going to close all of this stuff. And let's go find our model so that we can edit it. So this is kind of hard to find the first time, and then what I suggest is when you find it, you put it over on your quick access. You can see I have the com.mojang over here, and so you want to go to your C drive, which is this guy down here. So you go to C, and then you go to users and your username. I'm CyberX, so it'd be your username. And it might be user, it could be a whole bunch of things, administrator maybe, and then app data, then local, packages, and you just keep going through each of these until you find all the way to this com.mojang, and then that's where you find the development pack for the behavior and the resource pack. And now when we come in here and we open up our Bob add-on, we can go into models, into entity, and we can right here see this is our model. And we have two options. I have a guide to show how to do open with and add block bench here, so you can set it as your default and you can watch that guide. Or you can open block bench and you can click and drag the model in. So now we have our model here. Or you can hit file, open model, and you can browse to that same place. And this is why you want to have it as a quick access over here on the side, so that it's really easy to get back to that same spot over and over. And for example, if I was going to work in this add-on a whole bunch, what I would do is I'd click this guy and I bring it up here, and see how it says pin to quick access. I'd put it there, and then that way it's just there. So anytime I need to get to my models or get to stuff I'm working on, then I have it there. Now keep in mind, this is not a backup. You should also be doing file, save as, and saving the entire project somewhere else, not in here. It's really important it's not in here. So you could go to like your documents folder, and what I would suggest you do is you make a workspace folder, and in the workspace folder you have all the projects you're working on, and that's where you would store that stuff. And so you're going to save a BB model file, and a BB model file has the texture and the animations, and everything for this mob that you have is all in the BB model file to save it and back it up in case you need to come back to it later. So that's a good idea to do. So now that we have our model, we have this guy here, we can do different things with them. So let's start off with, let's just change his color just so that we have, we know he's been modified. Oh, that was horrible. Let's do something not so dramatic. Oh, he's got, sorry. We need to turn off his outside outfit. There you go. There we go. So now we could, and I'm not gonna do any arty art stuff. I just want to show he changed. Okay. So now we have Bob and we have his texture and we save it. We can also always do save as or open in folder and make sure that we're editing the right texture. So we're editing Bob's texture of the entity. It's in textures folder and it's in our development resource pack. So that looks good. So we don't have to do anything special. If you're not doing it right in your resource pack and you need to do it, you do save as, and then same thing. You'd go to your resource pack, you'd go to textures, and you'd save it in your texture folder. So here we got him now. Let's go back to Minecraft and let's make sure that our texture updated. And that proves that we're working on our live indie. And there we go. So now we know that our texture changed. Okay. So next, let's do a animation and let's show how to do some animation stuff. So over here, I'm going to add, we don't have any animations for him already because most of the stuff he uses is for humanoid. So you could import and pull in whatever animations that are just custom to him. So he has hold for the crossbow. Those are just custom for him. If you need to get all of the other animations, then you would download the resource pack for vanilla, which has all of the default and vanilla stuff. So you go to bedrock.dev packs, and then you grab the pack version you want, and all of the animations are in there. And I can actually show you because I already have it downloaded. So in my workspace folder, I've got Minecraft vanilla in here somewhere. There's a lot of stuff in here though. Vanilla Minecraft. So then you can come in here to your RP and you go to animations, and we could pull up like the humanoid animation should be in here. Oh, maybe it's just move. I don't remember what it's called. We could just go back and look at them. So we have bow, bat. You can see all of them that are in here. Oh, human. I must have spelled it wrong. Humanoid. So now here's all the humanoid animations. Now keep in mind, if you're modifying this, then you're modifying them for all of the entities. So if you don't want to do that, then you can, there's a few options. One of them is just take, say we want his base pose to change. So we're going to copy it and we're going to move it up into our Bob animation. So I copy and paste it, and I'm going to rename it Bob. And that's probably fine, Bob base pose. And then I just click and drag it up here and save. And so now this base pose is up here. And we're going to have to do more with this in the software to set it, but now I at least have the base stuff. So then I can take the left arm, and I'm going to just change his base pose to be his arms are up, like maybe like they're together. Okay, so there's a base pose. And then we're also, let's add another animation. So let's come in and say in rain. So when it's raining, I want you to do this animation. And so the animation for when it's raining, maybe we'll have him I don't know why they have this like this. Is silly. So I don't like how they have this. You can change these around. This is part of just learning. So I'm going to add in a root bone. I'm going to put all of the rest of the bones inside the root bone. And then I'm going to, at the body, I'm going to take the right leg and the left leg and move them out. And I honestly would change this. I'd probably make this be body and this be waist. Like this. This is probably more detailed than you want, but it's just one of those things. It's a pet peeve. So I'm going to take the pivot point for the waist and I'm going to move it up to where he can bend at the middle now. See how that works? So his legs and his body are separate, and then he has a root. So now when we go to animation, I can say, let's do 2 seconds. Let's do waist, position, head. And so I'm going to make these all 0. And then he will have his head go down a little and his waist go down a little. And I'm going to have his head go just a little bit first. So he goes down, and then let's have his, let's see, that's, I need the right arm. So the arms start at 0, and then let's have the arms come up like he's trying to cover his head. And left arm come up and in. There you go. And then let's do his head down just a little bit more, and then his waist down a little more. There you go. So now that we've got his basic movement down, I can copy all of these, move them over, copy all of the last frames, which is 0, and move it back, and now we have like a basic movement. However, I don't like that when he is here, he's not moving at all. So I'm just gonna have one tick down, and let's see if that makes it. There you go. So he's still moving a little bit there, so that he's getting. There. Okay, and then we're gonna save him, and then next we want to make sure we know the name of it that we're gonna use. So I'm just gonna copy these into my clipboard, and we already saved them. We did change the model, so we have to go back, export the model again as the geo, because I made changes to it, and then I'm just overwriting the model we're using, and we didn't change that texture. So now we're back into our game, and none of this is going to work other than that base pose, because we did actually the base pose won't either, because we aren't activating him. We didn't change him in the code or anything. We just put him in, right? So we didn't actually do anything. So if we say weather rain, they're not going to react to the rain because there's no logic telling them to. So that's what we're going to do next. So we're going to jump out of here, and I'm going to jump into a program called Bridge Editor. I'm using version 1. Version 2 is available. Version 2 does work on mobile. And what this does is it just means I don't have to do any JSON or know any of that or do any syntax or any of that crap. I can just come in here, open up my entity, and right here I have all of the stuff that the entity uses that Blockbench set up. I have everything ready to go, so I don't have to do any of those other things. I don't have to learn any of that stuff, which is excellent. So now I can come in here and I can say in rain is going to be the short name of the animation. And then remember, I saved this in my clipboard. And if you didn't see how I did that, it's Windows key V on Windows 10 and 11 pulls up your history, your clipboard history, so that I can copy more than one thing and then have access to them. So then I put that in there. So now I have a short name and I'm connecting it to the identifier of the animation. And then the last thing we want to do is, remember we changed the base pose. So we want to go find the humanoid base pose and modify that. So we're going to go find humanoid base pose right here, and we're going to put in hours instead of theirs. So this way we're not changing the base pose for all entities that are humanoid. We're making our own and then only changing it for Bob. So now that we've defined these, we don't have to do anything with base pose because it's already being done, but we do have to put something in for in rain. So if we come in here and we go to animate and we do a new number, we're going to put in this in rain. And you can see why Bridge is so awesome, because it automatically connected those so I don't have any errors or mistypes or any of that stuff. And now, here's the other piece of awesomeness of Bridge. Let me take a drink really quick. It gives you all of the queries that are known for your version, for your format version, so that you can quickly come in and say query, you know, is in water or rain, and that's it. So if the entity is in water or rain, play this guy. And you get more advanced with it with render controllers and all kinds of other stuff. This is a state machine, and I'll do more guides on that type of stuff. But just to start out, if you want to have something happen, you just want to play an animation when, this is how you do it. So we're going to go in and say we want to play in rain, but we want to play it, you just see how many queries there are. So we could play it when riding, we could play it when attached, we could play it when targeted, we could play it when the target, we could play it when it has a tag, or when it has armor in a certain slot, or it's blocking, or it's attacking, or it's climbing, or it's flying, or it's walking. You see, you can do anything you want, and all you're doing is using a query to say, hey, on this, do that. And it could be math-based. You could say, if you're going this fast, then play the animation this fast, so that you can have that cause and effect. And I have lots of guides kind of showing that type of stuff and how to take this to the next level. So like on fire, is on fire, then play in rain animation. Or you could create another animation for on fire, and he's jumping around and all of that stuff. So now we're going to save all of this, because we're editing the original files. So we can right click and say open, reveal and explore. You can see we're still editing inside the developer resource pack because we're doing that. And we're not in resource pack, and we're not in the world resource pack because we're here. That allows us to just save this, and then any world that we go and add on in the BP and RP to, those features will just work in that world. So here we go. Now it's raining, and our pillagers are playing their animation because it's raining. Now same thing, I could weather clear, stop the rain. I could get a flint and steel, and then I could set them on fire. And now they're playing the in-rain animation. Now, they're also playing their movement animation because we didn't turn that off, or we didn't tell them to stop playing their other animations as well. We did change, you can see that their stance has changed. So you see his stance when he's idle, it has his arms out like we did. But if you wanted to change like the walk animation, or those type of things, which is typically the most common one, then it's the same thing.
you're going to find the walk animation that they're using. And if you can't find it, it's because it's being used by another mob, or, there's just so many animations out there. And then you would change the walk animation, or you can come in here and just say walk. And I'll just show you really quick how to do walk. So 1 second, we have left leg, right leg, not item, we want right arm, left arm. So I would just put a new frame down for each of them, which is 0. So that means it starts at nothing. And then you can even put that at the end. So it starts at nothing and it goes back to nothing. That's what you pretty much always want an animation to be. And then we go just out a little bit. We take one leg, and I'm going to start with the right leg because that's just how I do it. And we go out. And we take the left leg, and we go out. And we take the right arm, and we go up. Because when you walk, you swing. Now this is for humanoids. It's different for animals. But you swing with your legs. So there you go. So now we're going to go over this side, and then we're just going to do the opposite. So now we're going to move them back and forward. And then if I come up here and I go to loop and I make it a loop and I save it, we always want to save often, and then I play it. Now you have a basic walking animation. Right? And if you want to make it faster, slower, you can just change how long it is, and then you just move these over. So now I've got basic. Here we go. So now he's moving. Now you also, if you're going to do it, and really add in, then I'd make sure you also have your head. So same thing, we got our head, and then I'm going to have the head go down just a little, and I'm going to take our zeros, put them back, and I'm going to have the head go. And you probably actually want it to go one side to the other side just a little too. So now we've got just a little bit of a head movement at the same time. And you can play with this and make it as good as you want. I'm just kind of quickly showing you, hey, here's the basic concept. So now we've got our walk animation. We're going to minimize this guy, go back here. And we have a problem here because he's already playing a movement controller. He's already been told how to move. And so if you're going to change one of them, you pretty much need to go through and change the entire controller if you're doing humanoids. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn these off for the moment so that there isn't a move controller being done, because they'll stack on top of each other and cause us problems. So we're going to come in here and say walk, and then we put in our walk animation. We come up here and we say walk, and we're going to query modified move speed. And we're going to say that if the modified move speed is greater than or equal to 0.0, say 2, if you have a bigger entity, this number needs to go up. If you have a smaller entity, the number goes down. So this is how fast it's moving. You don't want it to start walking if it's just barely tapped, for example. So this is to control that. So this would be between idle. Now what you could do if you don't want to put in a render controller and do all of that, or I'm sorry, an animation controller and learn all of that, which would be the next guide, then what you can do right here is you could say we'll add in idle. So now we got idle, and we'll put idle on a loop. So idle could just be see, this is another thing I don't like, is they don't have the body where I can animate it. So I'm going to create another bone here, and I'm going to call this chest, and I'm going to move this bone, I'm going to move these two cubes into the chest. You can hide them if you want to see what those include. So one's the outfit and one's the chest itself. So now I have chest as a new bone. And what I can do with that is now I can take that and I can start it at scale 0. And this one's typically good for, I think, 2 seconds. Same thing, I'm going to end at 0. So, and I'm doing scale this time. And so what I'll do here is I'll say, when you, this will be breathing for the idle. So I want him to do, one more thing I want to change. I want to change the pivot point so that it's right at the chest, right? Because you're breathing from the upper chest. So just move the pivot point up a little. That does mean that I need to export the geo again to update that change. So I'm going to do that right away. Okay, so here we go. So now I've got my chest. I'm going to make Z, which is blue, just a very small amount bigger. And then over here, I'm going to make Z just a very small amount smaller and then return to 0. So, and you can breathe with it as you watch it. So, see how his belly's moving? So, let's breathe with it. So, let's start here. So that's still, he's breathing fast. Because remember, you do like and then you have an exhale, and then there's like a delay of clear. So we go in, out, and clear. In, out, and clear. So there you go. So it's not bad. You can make that 4 seconds. You can make it whatever you want. And then you could also speed it up and have one for running and run for whatever, so that, you know, same thing. So now that we have a basic breathing idle, we'll also just slightly tip the head. So, and this is really small. We're just going to do like a really, probably even less than that, probably like 1.0. And then on this side, we do a negative 1.0. So it's very, I think that's way, yeah, no, that's fine, 1.0. So see how he's just, with his breathing, he's got just a little bit of movement. And then we could also take his right and left arm, and same thing. We're just going to add just like 1 or 2 ticks of movement on, oops, not that one, on this one, just 1 or 2. And I'm going out 1, and then same thing. We go back just a small amount, and you can tweak all of this. This is all like Bob Ross stuff where there's no right or wrong. It's just what you want. So there you go. So now we've got that. So let's take our idle. Let's pause this guy. We saved it. Remember, I save. I already exported the geo for the changes we made. So we come back to here. We go to animations, and now we put in idle. We paste in the link to it, so they're linked together. Now we come up here and we say, number 3 is idle. And what we're going to do is we're going to invert this to say, if we're doing the opposite of it. Now, it's less than or equal to, so it has to be a different number. You can't, we could say less than, but if it's less than or equal to, it's this number and. So you don't want to have both of them be, or do both at the same time. So if it's less than or equal to 0.01, then we're going to play idle. And this is the cheap way to do it. This isn't the best way to do it. You need to use an animation controller. That's the state machine that would control the state and play the right animation. We're just cheating so I can make it easier on you, since we're so long into this. That's a whole nother guide for animation controllers. So we save everything. We do that. We do save all. We minimize. We go back to our world. And hopefully, now they're using our walk. And there you go. They're using our walk. Oh, but you see he's not... yeah, there you go. So let's turn off weather clear. So he's using our walk animation now. And he's not idle. And you can see that we probably need a walk and a run, or we need to feed in some math to make the walk go faster based on how fast he's moving. And that's another guide as well. So why did my rain stop? I've noticed this problem more and more, that when I try to clear it, it won't. And so I have to just put a limiter on the rain and say rain for 1 second, and then it'll clear it. So now let's go find him when he's idle and see if he's doing his move. There you go. Yeah, so you see his arms are moving. He's breathing as well. So you see he's got his breathing movement, and his head's got a little bit of wobble. So the only thing we need to fix is just the walk speed could be better. And to do that, we would do... I think we'd probably just feed this directly in, and then we'd say and query modified. Let's see. This would work is greater than or equal to 0.02. So we're saying feed this math into the walk animation and check to see that we are moving. Because we don't want it to play if we're not moving, but we want it to play fast enough that the faster he goes, the faster the animation plays. So if I hit him, the rain is still going. You gotta love it. So stop the rain. Okay, so now when he's walking, see how his legs are moving more. Now, do you see where it didn't, because it's looped, it still played, even though he had stopped moving, it still played the last second of the animation to put his legs together, and it kind of looked just a little bit off. That's where the animation controller will fix that by blending the idle animation and the walk animation together, because it's a state machine and it can make all of those things look better. That's the whole purpose of it. So to blend between jump, to blend between sitting or flying or any of that stuff, that's what the animation controller is going to do. So there we go. This has been a long guide, but I wanted to get through all this stuff and really give you a good idea of how do we take stuff from the Entity Wizard, move it over into Minecraft Bedrock Edition, get the animation set up and customized, and get some queries in. You can see now he's in the water, so now he's playing his I'm in the water rain query animation, and get all of this stuff in there so that we've got you to where you can to really take the next step and get your animations in. So there you go. I'm CyberAxe with Outlandishly Crafted, and this has been a guide on how to set up your Entity Wizard animations and get it in the game for Blockbench. If you guys need any more help, you can always find me over at the Help Bedrock Edition channel in the Blockbench Discord. I'm always over there. You can open a ticket or a thread and we'll help you out there. If you have any requests for other guides, you can put them in the comments. We definitely could use some Patreon support and supporters or tips just to help keep making the guides. Tell your friends, subscriptions help, all of that stuff, so that we can keep doing it. It takes a lot of time. Just to give you an idea, we had something like 900 new creators join the Discord over the last weekend, and there's only like 2 or 3 of us doing support every day. So you just kind of get an idea of the math. So for me to be able to keep doing this every day, I really need some financial support. So if you know any partners or anybody that'd be willing to help out, or you'd like to get back to the community, we're always looking for those sponsorship and help. So thank you very much. Check out my website at outlandishlycrafted.com and check out the other guides. You rock. Thanks for watching.